welcome your moderator to the stage, Nader Amiri, the partner at Homegrown. Also, Justine Dampt, the co-founder and CEO of Shake Your Plants. Shakir Karoubi, the founder of Bambayou.com. Bashar Al-Mousa, the global director of Ecommerce, Fine Hygienic Holding. And Baris Akdevelioglu, e-commerce manager, ME at PepsiCo. Ladies and gentlemen, your moderators and your panel.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Welcome, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's been a long day. I'm sure people want to enjoy the nice weather outside today. So we're going to keep this very productive and catch up on some lost time, despite some very exciting discussions. I think we were chatting with Anurima and the team that we need to have more panels around FMCG within the industry. I think there's a lot of tech and tech heaviness, and FMCG, I think, has a voice to speak more and more these days. So very happy to be moderating this session with two startups and two giants within the industry. So we'll take a minute to make introductions, starting from Justine.
Yeah, that's better. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justine Dampt. I'm one of the co-founders of Shake Your Plants, SIP. And my background is really entrepreneurship because I have 15 years of experience, so a lot of failures. So it's been a roller coaster, but a lot of successes as well. And I have a track record of 2 exits in the plant-based industry.
Hi, my name is Sahar, and I'm the founder of Bambayou Tissues. We're a brand of sustainable tissue products based here in the UAE. My background is in digital marketing, so I felt a level of confidence going into it, but it was becoming a mother and feeling like I need to do better for my children and for future generations that really propelled me to start and launch Bambayou.
Hello, this is Baris. I'm managing the Middle East e-commerce for PepsiCo, from snacks to beverages, as well as the Center of Excellence for Africa, Middle East, and South Asia. Of course, we do also have sustainability projects, from green packaging to less water usage and green energy. That's what we are.
Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bashar Al-Mousa. I'm a global director of e-commerce for Fine company. I'm looking into taking care of the e-commerce business across the globe, and my mission is to take Fine to global. And this is what we do through e-commerce and marketplaces.
We have a nice diversity, 2 beverages, 2 tissues, so we're going to keep it friendly today in the panel. I think over the last years, especially since COVID, the role of e-commerce for FMCG brands has changed a lot. I think one question to all the panelists is, all over the last years, how do you treat e-commerce? What's the role? What's the business model? Is it how you launch? Is it how you grow? Is it your profit driver? What's the role and business model that e-commerce plays for your business?
So Shake Your Plants, SIP, has been built definitely as a direct-to-consumer. That's, the term. So I like to call it direct-to-community personally, but yes, we are in a business of acquiring customers and retaining customers online. This is the vision of the company is, of course, to see water as a vehicle. So our product is a sachet that you add in your bottle of water. So we have, of course, a mission around wellness and information, but how we see the company is really as an online business. So 70% of our sales in the UK and in the UAE comes from our website. So building this community is, of course, going with an entire growth marketing strategy, but as well a lot of offline events. So it doesn't mean that you're a direct-to-consumer and an e-commerce business, at least for us, our experience, that you should give up on the offline, because we realize as well that pricing over the past years have been increasing a lot on Meta. And 37% of our sales come from Meta, but the rest, the main part, is actually organic growth. organic growth that is coming from a lot of, like engagement with our community, physical engagement. And I think what works well for us in the past year, considering the increase of a CAG, was really all kind of like event, from Glastonbury in the UK to different type of like samplings in different events, me speaking to you today, all of this kind of like offline activation, presenting the brand has been really supporting, like the growth strategy that we had online. That's, yeah.
So I think without e-commerce for D2C brands, it becomes hard to penetrate the retail market. So it becomes like the entry point within your launch strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like the challenge is not to be on the shelf. The challenge is to move product from the shelves, right? So in order to do that, I think, you need to have like a strong brand, a strong community. That's why I was speaking to direct to community, because people need to see you, recognize you, like especially when you like a startup and newcomer in the industry.
Yeah, so I agree. It's the same with us. Bamboo launched as a direct-to-consumer brand. Initially, part of it was the symptom of being a startup, bootstrap, just trying out, and it really allowed us to launch with a single product, which usually going into retail, no one's going to accept just to take one product from you. We had toilet paper, and that's all we sold for the first 9 months. And that allowed us to learn, engage with our customers, understand what are the new SKUs that we need to launch and how we build it, and it really grew organically from there. So we were a direct-to-consumer platform for the first 6 months, and then we slowly started incorporating other e-commerce channels that really were that lever to growth, like Amazon and Kipsons, and each of those channels have their own role, but our .com still stays the pillar for understanding our customers, engaging with them, introducing new solutions that we want to test out, like a trial pack, like larger bundles, like a subscription service. And all of these can be a lot more costly and time-consuming through retail or other channels, whereas with our own platform, we can really facilitate that overnight and be ready when we're speaking with other channel partners.
Well, I guess for startups, it's not about just the sales or being present. It's also about the community. It's also about getting insights from the customer, testing and learning. How is it for big players? What's the role of e-commerce? What's the importance of it in your business?
So definitely it's a growth driver. How we see at PepsiCo, e-commerce is like under 5 sub-channels of e-commerce, right? One is the pure plays like Amazon or the .coms of Noon. Other than that, like the rapid delivery, the quick commerce. Our core retail partners, the likes of Panda, Carrefour, are at the top of this game as well. And the marketplace aggregators on the grocery side. And we also handle for us, it's also huge for the away from home, the food delivery partners, right? So they are a source of growth. But I think we are sharing the same sentiment. Even though we are not a startup, obviously, it's an awareness for us. We are generating a double-digit revenue globally via our innovations. So it is, of course, a channel that we can drive trial. And of course, we are expecting repeat purchases. On the profitability side, PepsiCo is a go-to-market company, right? So we are very strong. So on the profitability side, I wouldn't be very optimistic because at the end, retail media networks, until we reach a scale in e-com, are still quite expensive. We are calling it still the seeding phase for our categories, but significant sub-channels are working in favor of us because we are that's what we are talking at the back room, right? We are not a part of the planned purchase all the time. We are much more impulse. Our traditional trade muscles are very important. So a couple of minutes deliveries are working very in favor of us for our categories.
Less about going direct to customer, but more segmenting the channels that are there through partners.
Yeah, direct to consumer, we have some global examples, especially in North America. however, within this region, it's not yet in our midterm plans. We believe so. We didn't open up a supermarket, right? So I don't see that we are going to be investing into our direct-to-consumer yet heavily, considering the basket size of PepsiCo products. So I think we are enjoying to riding the wave for now.
Bashar, how has the role evolved?
Like it's big time evolved in the past few years, and as a Fine, how we take the e-commerce now, it goes beyond the online sales. It's not anymore, it's an only channel, or it's one of the channels we have in the company. Like, we are more integrated now with the team, with the marketing team, and how we can use the e-commerce to enable the omni-channel experience in the market. The e-commerce, no doubt that it reaches a wider audience. It has more capabilities when it comes understanding the consumer journey online, and influence the decision making for the overall strategy of the company, especially when we're launching new products in the market. So honestly speaking, like when we look into the e-commerce, when we started the e-commerce, we were like a small channel in the market. Now we are contributing to double-digit percentage for the total sales of the company, and like the holistic approach that we are taking in Fine in launching or considering the e-commerce as one of the key channels in the market, it's amazing, and it's driving like indirectly when you have something online and you're targeting people online and you are having a presence online, it's indirectly also improving the sales offline. So many people, and there is so many research and studies that even people in store, they open their mobiles. Mobiles is like just, they pick it up, they go and search about the product, they read more information about the product. And this is the, this is the beauty of the e-commerce, where even if you are available on Amazon, you do have the product details page where it's, for a single product, it's a brand website for you. It's like a .com for you, so where you are displaying more content, you're displaying more videos, you're sharing more information, you educating the consumption for the people in store to choose the right product. And then it's up to the consumer to choose which buying preferences they want to buy it from in store or online. We might capture people in store, they go later on to repurchase online and vice versa. So again, it's like, it's a holistic approach, not anymore, it's isolated from the overall strategy of the company. And this is where it comes the muscles of the e-commerce, where we can enable the overall strategy of the company to go above and beyond the online sales.
It's gone beyond just sales. It supports the online, supports the offline supports the online. It's not
It's
segregated.
A holistic approach. It's a 360 approach. We can't like keep it separate from our online plans.
Very cool. Justine, you're one of the few founders in the region in CPG that had an exit, and now you launched...
Well, we were not Facebook either, right? But yeah, an exit is an exit, yes.
Absolutely. And now you have your second brand. How has e-commerce evolved between your first launch and now your second?
You know, I really like this question, and actually when I was preparing for it, I realized how much I grew as a founder, but as well, it made me realize like how old I am, because it looks like I'm going to speak about another time, and it was like just before COVID, like, you know, the few years before COVID, maybe 3 years before COVID, and it seems that it's another era. So first of all, I think it changed structurally and functionally. So structurally, in a sense that at that time, I was a direct-to-consumer brand, started organically, and to set up the financial backbones of an e-commerce was very, very hard. Just having a bank account. Stripe did not exist as a payment gateway. Zibuni was just starting, and they were offering payments through Instagram, but no payment gateway integrated. Zina did not exist. Like a lot of like this fintech that you hear and you see everywhere did not exist. So we started our e-commerce with a cash on delivery. You know, so I mean, it's only, not as an option, you know, like, so then, you know, like all the logistic around the sale itself was very heavy, you know, like the change and all of that, like it was like for a small business, a lot to organize. So that's the first thing. I think the market is much more structured now to support direct-to-consumer in many different ways. Tomorrow we have events, you know, we're going to use Zibuni in one way because we want to get data on consumers. We're going to sell our boxes. It's a higher basket. So then, you know, we'll be able to have all the data, targeting them again on the newsletter and like really retaining these consumers, hopefully, and to become loyal consumers. Another event we're going to use Zina is just going to be like and just a QR code to scan. So all of these solutions, once again, did not exist, and I think that makes a big difference to brands like us for the e-commerce growth, but as well for the experience of the users. Then consumers wants to buy from brands. The second part is the function. So once again, it was a world where TikTok did not exist, where Meta was way cheaper, you know, where content was not, you could still post pictures on your Instagram. Like now you're not gonna get any traffic if any sales, you know, if you don't have like any reels. So I think all of this social media is much more aggressive, much more competitive, and driving consumers on your website require a lot more than just like ads. And that's why I'm going back again to the importance, I think, of offline and being exposed to the UK market, which is for our industry and direct-to-consumer a little bit more mature. You see a lot of like startups, direct-to-consumer brand being very innovative on offline events to drive traffic on the e-commerce and support the e-commerce strategy.
What would be your advice to aspiring founder in terms of how to approach e-commerce?
Well, I'm sure there's better, you know, like suited people. I'm sure it's a lot of consultants here who can give probably better advice than me, but it would be to whatever acquisition cost you have planned, just like triple that first. And then second of all, don't give up the offline activation because once again, I think it's in the beginning, like a good tranche of your growth will come from this organic part. Unless you raise $10 million, of course, but like then you don't need my advice.
It will take much more than that, but yes, to your point of tripling it times 3. So Sahar, your brand is very sustainability-driven, eco-driven. Does e-commerce conflict or support your brand mission, your brand journey?
No, it's definitely supportive because we have a story to tell. Like going into launching Bamboo, I knew that we're not going to stand the chance on day one competing with giants that obviously exist, are established, the brands that are loved, and we had to tell our story. We had to make sure that customers are not just buying a product, they're also buying into our mission and are on this mission with us to improve the environment. So our tissues, just to give you a little bit of a background, are made from bamboo, and bamboo is a grass versus traditional tissues that are made from trees and contribute to deforestation. So for customers who are interested in having that impact alongside with us, they're not just buying a product, they feel empowered. So with e-commerce, we're able to tell that. To Justine's point, you also need to, whether it is in person, at events and markets, to be able to tell your story, to support that. The fact that people buy from people, right? And we're able to see our customers at an event, at a point of sale, and to connect with them on something beyond a product, really facilitate that. that relationship.
It goes beyond the sales channel. It kind of enforces and allows you to give a window into the sustainability angle to the customers and find the right ones.
Absolutely, yeah.
Baris, PepsiCo has very strong muscles, as you were saying, in terms of go-to-market offline. How challenging is that to translate online?
It's quite challenging. So because we have an aisle which we are sharing mainly with another company which has a more aggressive color, right? So in offline, so it's a huge aisle. You Pepsi, the blue cans, everywhere, like eyesight. When we move to mobile or any screens, basically mobile screens, let's be honest. Now our most selling SKU, this little guy here, becomes one little tile, right? Just like the rest. So we are not owning an aisle anymore. So we are competing to be on the top. While are we translating our offline muscles? I don't think that we are there yet. And I don't think the industry is there yet. So I would position it differently. I don't think that we are using our offline muscles anymore, rather than distribution. Of course, our distribution is there. Our go-to-market evolves by having the correct availability on the locations. However, right now we are working with tech companies, and our core retail partners are also evolving to be a tech company as well, right? So in that sense, what we do is we are developing with them new features. We are being the test users. We are brainstorming with the product teams. Most of the features that you see on those apps are being developed with us. We are helping them to understand FMCG better in a way. I think there is a lot more to go in e-commerce where companies like us, not only PepsiCo, where they will be showing the real muscles, I think. So I think it's a good time for the startups to find the correct place, and it goes for our own innovations as well. Mm-hmm. So we are having the opportunity to place them equally with our core portfolio.
It's because it's like you were saying, in the last 100 years, the whole offline market has been evolving and innovating and growing, right? We went from mom and pop stores to hypers to planograms to monitoring those and so on and so on. I think for e-commerce, we're still in the first decade where a lot of tools and innovations and things are still being built now.
Definitely, especially in this region, while we are just approaching the excellence in the perfect store, we already kickstarted the perfect digital store.
So that's, yeah?
No, sorry, I'm jumping on that because I think it's quite interesting that a big brand that has been around for quite some time grew, like from like offline to online, a little bit like, like the telephone was, okay, like the landline and then the mobile. But, startup like us, it's as if, like with a new generation or new countries that never had the landline before, we jump on the mobile and now we have to build back. Our entire business model was like on this online, and now we have to build back kind of like the basic of the offline, if that makes sense,
Yeah, at the end, fundamentals of trade and commerce.
You have to be there in all the channels.
They are there, yes, but the new tools are available. They are available at the same time to you and to us. So
that levels the playing field a bit, right?
Yeah.
Bashar, we've known each other for 7-8 years. We've had a lot of discussions about e-commerce and how it started, 7-8 years ago and where we are now. What's the major takeaways you see in terms of how e-commerce evolved?
See, like, if we look back and we see our e-commerce business like 7 or 8 years ago and how it's evolved right now, it all comes like we had so many internal and external issues. Or challenges. I don't want to say it issues. Like it all comes down from the vision that we're adopting as a company, like how we are going to take this channel forward. When we started the e-commerce business, there is no playbook for us to know how we are going to operate in the Middle East when it comes to e-commerce business. We were like a learning curve, even when we speak with our partners from Souq to Noon to all of the e-commerce players, we were learning and like we were discussing what challenges we have. And we started with fixing the fundamentals first, and this is the most important thing. And one of the major things with the fundamentals is not only the operation side or the availability, because you want to make sure that you are available, also the distribution. With the quick commerce, we started with a few dark stores, then we suddenly like they expanded to 50, 60 dark stores, and they were asking the brands to go and to deliver directly to those dark stores. Then they evolved their distribution to have more centralized operation and so on, which it helped us in the availability and the reach we have across the market. And I'm not talking about UAE only, but I'm talking also in a bigger markets like Egypt and KSA, where the distribution it was one of the main challenges of most of the e-commerce players. They want to reach, like if you are placing your order from Riyadh or Jeddah or Dammam, Sharqiyya, Mecca, and whatever the location is, the online customer expecting the order to be delivered in the next day or in the same day. So like we have been in a journey fixing the fundamentals. And also the most important takeaway that I'm taking when it comes to making the e-commerce journey successful is team. We need to start with our people. We need to give them the playbook, how we can act in the market. It's totally different. Like we can influence the decision making from the offline team. However, when it comes to the online team, the people who are managing the e-commerce business, like 60% of our business or our day is spent on customer experience, is spent on planning, media, reading data, and the rest of the time we are fixing the fundamentals and keep focusing on the fundamentals when it comes to operation and availability. I can't be like, I can't push all my online campaigns and my spending online, and when the consumer wants to place the order, oops, I'm out of stock. Like there is no ROI, there is nothing, okay? So that's why it's like the more we adopt technology for us to help us with our demand planning, with supply chain, with distribution, the more we can get much more effective campaigns. And also we need to look into how we are going to spend our money online, to which this money will redirect into conversions. So it's like a 360 approach. You need to link all the dots together. You can't focus on one area and you forget about the other area. It's a full stream of, or a chain of enablers that you need to work on it. But of course, like as my colleagues mentioned, like we take how the offline acts in the market, but we translate it into the e-commerce language or the online language, and we do the right thing with the right partner.
So the whole e-commerce within the large organization is still like a startup within the full team.
This is exactly what I meant. Like it's the mindset, and all the time we go into like even when I joined Fine, the leadership team came to me and said that, Bashar, we want you as an entrepreneur inside the company. It's like don't think or don't stick to the to whatever you see. Whatever you see that you need to change it, go and change it. You do have the authority. That's why it's like starting with a vision, enabling the team, giving the flexibility in the operation and in the distribution and so on, giving the flexibility in terms of reaching the customers and fixing your online media plans and so on, and then the result and the success will come after. And this is how, like, I'm advising most of the e-commerce, like most of the companies, most of the brands, to handle the e-commerce strategy for them.
Great. I think time's up, right? So I'm getting some nods here. So any time for questions? No questions? We're over time. Great. I would like to thank the panelists, Justine, Sahar, Baris, and Bashar. Thank you very much for the insights.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.